Okay, in this video we're doing question number 7 from exam 3. Very few of you answer this question, so I wanted to make sure to maybe go over it because it's not as bad as it looks. All right, so number 1, so basically you need to determine the intervals where g increases and decreases. So what you needed to do is take the derivative, and the derivative is the derivative of an antiderivative. So if you were thinking, I wonder if those cancel out, the answer is yes. So there's really not much work to do. You just write down what you see in the middle. So it's just 5x square root of x squared minus 4. X squared minus x to the 4th. That is the derivative. So that's step 1. Remember that step 1 is find f prime or g prime. I did a video of these for quiz 3 for D1. Again, this is standard D1. Step 2 is to find the critical numbers. And so you already have the derivative, so now you just set it equal to 0. So you have two things, right? You have 5x x squared minus x to the 4th is equal to 0. So 5x is equal to 0, or the square root of x squared minus x to the 4th is equal to 0. So x is equal to 0, or x squared minus x to the 4th is equal to 0. So you got, I'm going to factor out an x squared, and I get that x squared is equal to 0, or 1 minus x squared is equal to 0. So in essence, x equals 0 or x equals plus or minus 1. So I'm going to make a number line. I'm going to put my g prime. I'm going to put my 0 as a critical number, 1 is a critical number, negative 1 is a critical number. I'm going to try to plug stuff in. For example, negative. Let's start on the right this time. These are my critical numbers. So let's try f prime of 2. Notice that when I try, or sorry, not f prime, g prime. Again, this is my scratch. When I try to plug in 2 in there, I get 5 times 2 over 2 squared minus 2 to the 4th. And I get 10 square root of 4 minus 16. But then I get 10 square root of negative 12, and this is undefined. This is complex, or actually, maybe not undefined. Let's say complex numbers. But we're not dealing with complex numbers here. So we're going to say this is undefined. So g prime of 2 is undefined. And it turns out that if you do g prime of negative 2, something similar happens. You get 5 times negative 2. But when you square negative 2 and when you raise negative 2 to the 4th power, you're going to get 4 minus 16 again. And so this time it's negative 12 times negative 10 times the square root of negative 12. So again, that's not going to be good. So this is undefined. So all you have to worry about is things between 0 and negative 1 and 0 and 1. So I'm going to plug in the positive one first. Let's do g of 1/2. So that's going to be 5 times 1/2 square root of 1/2 squared minus 1/2 to the 4th. That's going to be 5/2 square root of 1/4 minus 1/16. But it doesn't matter because 1/4 minus 1/16, it doesn't matter what that number is. I mean, that number is going to be 3/16, but this is positive. So on this side, I plugged in g prime of 1/2, and I got that it's greater than 0. So from 0 to 1, g is increasing because the derivative is positive. And then when you plug in the negative 1/2, you in essence get the same thing, except that it's going to be a negative 1/2. So it's going to be 1/4 minus 1/16 again. So you're going to get negative 5/2 times the square root of 3 over 16. But that negative in the 5/2, that means this is negative. This is less than 0. So here, g prime of negative 1/2 is less than 0. So now that we have a sign chart for g, notice that our sign chart indicates that g of x is decreasing on negative 1 to 0. and increasing on 0, 1. Thus, G of 0 is a local min or a local minimum. And that's it. That's really all you had to do for this one. You did have to find a derivative. So the derivative in and of itself, so finding G prime, that was D4 slash D5. Hold on, let me make sure that's the correct numbering. I think it's actually D6. I think my numbering was off. Yeah, never mind, sorry. So this is D6. This is the fundamental theorem of calculus. This would have been a 5 out of 5, just finding the derivative. That was it. And then the rest, as you know, being able to write the sentence and using the Italian chart, that's D1. That would have been a 5 out of 5. And why it says that you're doing D6, I don't understand. That was a mistake. So it's just these two standards. So I hope this helps as you prepare for your final.